My name is Matthijs Dieriks, I'm the composer for Unexplored 2, and today I'm going to be talking a bit about the demo that we're releasing for the FIC backers. Unexplored 2 is a game which is very early in development. There's a lot of stuff missing, obviously, and not everything will be clear to first-time players, so we're hoping that this video may clear up a bit of the questions that you may have. To start with, the demo begins quite aggressively. It explains to you very shortly that you are handed a staff and that staff needs to be brought to a certain location on the map, but when you leave the conversation you instantly end up in a fight, and the best way to survive that is simply to run away. Unexplored 1 took the player into a dungeon, deeper and deeper and deeper, but Unexplored 2 obviously is being played out in the open air. The map is actually quite large, it's completely procedurally generated. When you die you can choose to start a different run with a different character on the same map in the same world, or to generate a completely new world. For now we're looking for a location with a spirit portal, which is here. In Unexplored 2, you travel from node to node, and when you hover over a certain node, you get additional information about that node. For instance, if there is spray, if there is an enemy, if there is some magical mystery to be solved. This information is vital for you to make a well-informed tactical decision on which way you will travel. Traveling from node to node costs time, which is indicated at the top of your screen. But I'm gonna stop the gameplay for a second and talk about the threats. These are the threats. There are 4 types of threats that affect the hunt differently. The first one is presence, and presence is increased when you abuse the staff or use some of its special powers. Hunters attuned to magic will find you way easier. Plus, magic elements and creatures react more aggressively. Basically, you piss off the environment. Hearsay is increased when you talk to neutral characters, especially when you boast about your status or show off the Staff of Yender. Hunters will find you way easier when hearsay is high. The third one is Spore, and Spore indicates the tracks that you left during your travel. Starting fights or going through certain types of terrains can increase your Spore. When your Spore is high, enemies can track you more easily, boosting their travel speed. To reduce the Spore, you can try to cover your tracks, but this might cost time. The last one is visibility. Visibility is increased when spotted by certain enemies, also when you make a fire and leave it burning throughout the night. When your visibility is high, most hunters will know where you are and where you are going. When traveling to covered locations, you can reduce your visibility. Unexplored 2 is a game with permadeath, so combat is usually best to be avoided. Sometimes the enemies are just too many or too strong to stand a chance against. Even fighting with smaller enemies like these rats can result in negative feedback, such as a higher threat level. A bit about the weapons and the preset settings. So press 1 for a shield and a sword, press 2 for a sword and a dagger, press 3 for the staff and the sword. How you use the staff will become clearer later on. Press 4 to do away with the weapons. This is a fortune test, and a fortune test is something akin where traditional pen and paper RPGs would use a dice roll. You encounter them quite frequently, although they are almost always optional. The fortune test is handled by you drawing a number of fortunes from a pool of possible outcomes. You can see the possible outcomes before you choose to engage with the test. After you draw a fortune, you can choose to keep it or spend a so-called spark to draw another option. Sparks are a finite resource, so you cannot spend them carelessly. However, taking a negative outcome in a fortune test often replenishes your sparks. In this case, we wanted to cover our tracks. The first fortune that the game gave us was actually quite fortunate. It said job well done, so we're indeed done. And now we are facing some very dangerous plants that shoot seeds, and those seeds grow new plants, and those plants start shooting, so if you're not careful, you can really trigger a very dangerous chain reaction. Sometimes the road is blocked and you have to perform a fortune test to clear the rubble. In this case, we succeed in clearing the rubble, although it did cost some time, and we end up traveling during the night, which is slightly more dangerous than traveling during the day. Most bushes are impenetrable, but sometimes if you look carefully you can spot sort of a secret passageway. The level exits are marked by these two statues. Normally level exits are to be found all the way to the left or all the way to the right of a level, but sometimes there's a tangent, like in this case. This leads to an extra level where you can collect some food. Food is important. If you are hurt, you need to heal. You can only heal when you rest and have food. Sometimes food can be collected by killing small animals, but the safest way is to collect some berries. Magic plays an important role in Unexplored 2, and you happen to be walking around with the most powerful magic item in the world. All magic is contextual. When you find yourself near a source of magic, a circle of influence appears. When you enter that circle, the magic of that source gets drawn into the staff, and then a new circle appears, and within that circle you can use that magic. In this case, we took the magic of a snaproot tree, and we use it to attack a small animal. Using magic is not without consequences. In this case, the tree gets upset and attacks you in return. I hope these tips will help you to survive your first few minutes in Unexplored 2: The Wayfarer's Legacy. Please remember to check for updates, and if you have any more questions, you can always find us at the Discord channel.